Hello, respective viewers. It's George from Ireland. So, welcome back to my channel once again. And there were some joyous tidings from the Antipodes a few days ago. So, forgive me for being a little bit tardy in doing this. I tarried because I was busy with quite a few things. I think it's 8 days ago now. So, there was a magnificent result in the Commonwealth of Australia with a resounding victory for racial equality against racism. So, there was a plan to privilege the minority over the majority. All six states in Australia voted a firm no to this divisive and vile policy. So that's Western Australia, South Australia, Tasmania, New South Wales, Victoria, and Queensland. It was unanimous amongst all the states. So the Prime Minister is Anthony Albanese, a Labour man. So it was Albanese's racist policy which has gone down in flames. And it's a very good day for those who care about the oneness of Australian society, or indeed any society, um, and for about egalitarianism. So, fortunately, this mostly anti white policy has been defeated. So, as a policy of racists, particularly self hating white racists, some are sort of Aboriginal supremacists. So, no one should be mistreated on the ground of race, not whites, not Aborigines. Um, and they're obviously the non-Aborigines are a high majority of the Australian population, about 96% of them, and that includes non-white people, Indian Australians, Chinese Australians, Vietnamese Australians, so forth, Nigerian Australians that could be here all day. So what the idea was to really have racial privilege and discriminate against the great majority of Australians, and that obviously is rebarbative. And no right-thinking or fair-minded person would ever support such a disgustful policy for 1 minute. But fortunately, truth, good sense, common decency has prevailed. So the leader of the opposition, the Liberal Party, Peter Dutton, has quite correctly commended the result, saying it's a good one for Australia. So yeah. Anyway, so the campaign was tightly fought and fraught, and it would have changed the constitution. But there's going to be no alteration or perversion of the constitution of Australia. It would have created a different class of society, sort of making some Australians more equal than others. It really was Orwellian. And this new body, which would have special control over the government, over the decisions that it rendered. So if people were not sure, they were encouraged by the No campaign to cast their ballots for no, because the constitution is difficult to change, but once changed, it's very, very difficult to change back. So it was completely unnecessary. There was really no opinion poll that showed it was going to be passed. What a huge waste of time and public money in putting this appalling proposal to the vote. But I'm very glad that common sense and humanitarianism has carried the day. We won't hear about this one for a long time. Incidentally, the Albanese administration, they also want to do away with the monarchy. Now, I'm an ardent royalist. Obviously, it's completely up to the Australians. They can abolish the monarchy, they can retain the monarchy as they so determine. And in 1999, by again a healthy majority, they chose to keep the monarchy. Now, Mr. Albanese says that he would like to do away with this institution, which has served Australia very well throughout its entire history. But as he's lost this one referendum that'll undermine his authority so much, I think he's probably unlikely to risk it. And then just after Her Britannic Majesty died, he decided that he was not going to hold that referendum, said it would be an inapposite moment, partly because there's a groundswell of empathy for the House of Windsor, and people remember just why they valued it so much. But, I don't delude myself. There's a significant number of anti-monarchists in Australia, maybe a majority, I don't know. So there might be a referendum held in the next few years. I just don't think it's going to be this year. And unfortunately, the monarchists might be defeated. The Republicans might be able to vandalise the Australian constitution. I don't question their right to do so. We shall see. I'm afraid to say I'm actually rather pessimistic about the monarchy in Australia in the longer term. Anyway, so great. So there are obviously plenty of Aborigines who were against this patronising and offensive policy. And really, the core mythology of this was the Australian Aboriginal people do not have a voice. I mean, how patronising is that? Anyway, it really just was despicable. But I'm very glad that this hasn't happened, that this has not been carried. So the voice, it was propounded in the Uluru Statement from the Heart way back in 2017. Certain Aborigines believe that they should have privileges, should discriminate against everybody else. So there we are. Anyway, they say that they're not mentioned in the Constitution, all right, but nobody's mentioned the Constitution. You know, white Australians of any ancestry, Italian Australians, Danish Australians, British Australians, they're not mentioned, just like the Pakistani Australians or the whoever Australians. So I don't see why they would need to be. And yes, it is true they are the autochthonous people. So it was very difficult to alter the Australian constitution. There have been 45 bids to do so. Only 8 of those have won. We shall see. There was an effort to do this in 1999 when they essayed to do so. That was also defeated. Okay, so they were going to change the preamble to the constitution. And one of the no campaigners is also one of the most prominent ones is also an Aboriginal lady, Senator Jacinta Nampijinpa Price. Okay, so I'm very glad that Australia's made a sensible decision. It's the kind of nauseating racism that I'm seeing in the United Kingdom at the moment. This desire to privilege certain ethnic groups over other ones, to be racist, particularly towards the majority. And obviously, racism is appalling and unacceptable. And no matter who's perpetrating it, and no matter who's the victim of it. And just because Australians were very badly treated long ago doesn't mean that they should be privileged now, or that other ethnic groups should be mistreated right now. So the way is to mingle, to be friends, to cooperate together, and everybody be happy and probably less aware of racial distinctions, which are no more than skin deep. So yeah, it was going to be dividing society. So there was the Black Sovereign movement, which was led by an Aboriginal senator, Lydia Thorpe. She was against it as well, but for different reasons. Okay, so the yes side have gone down in flames. They are choking on their Castlemaine 4X, and it's really pleasing to see these leftist and ultra-liberal bigots reduced to tears. And I hope they find it as humiliating as possible. Racist, racist, racist. They're always false accusing other people, and it's just sickening. So now they can stew in their own juice. Okay, so that's been decided, and I don't think it's going to be put to the vote for a very long time. Apart from that, Albanese's Labour government is actually doing fairly well. It's reasonably popular. So, I mean, Labour are going to be in office for this sort of foreseeable future. Maybe a bit of a boost to the Liberals and the Nationals. The opposition, can they come back from this later on? So thank you so much for watching my channel, and make sure you subscribe on Patreon, because you can see thousands of videos and articles which are behind the paywall. And make sure you donate with the greatest possible generosity on PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Remember, I urge any donations to sustain the channel, so no donation is too large. So I have high quality content coming out all the time. And remember, I help people with their essays, dissertations, theses, and so forth. And I teach online lessons in all humanities subjects, including French. I'm a tour guide in Londinium. Okay, goodbye, everybody. Good night.